Hey, we're live. What's up,
What's
Joey?
going on? What's up, yo?
What's up, man? I don't know. Coming off a bad week for me again. Did you
Again,
see my score?
thought you were supposed to be the comeback kid.
I come back. I just didn't go all the way.
Yeah, I got work too actually this week. I think I got beat by like 75 points.
Wow. Oh yeah, you had a pretty low score this week.
Yeah, I need CMC back pretty bad.
I mean, would
Yeah,
you rather lose by?
Darren Waller hasn't popped since week 1. Kyler Murray had one of a down week, so and Devontae got all this stuff from Aaron Jones, so I couldn't score. Just couldn't score.
Well, I lost by 1 point, or no, I
Oh,
lost by 1.8 points, I think.
I'd rather lose by 75 than lose by
Yeah, I was
one
about
point.
to ask you, like, what would you rather have? I mean, it was my fault. I started Damian Harris over Josh Jacobs
I
at
mean,
the last second.
that fumble that Damian Harris would have had, he would have had 2 scores
I
if
know.
the
I
like
was
that
so
fumble went
pissed.
the other way. So he looked like he was a smash play, and then of course didn't work out for you. But that's just how the game goes, man. Sometimes
That's
just
fantasy football, man. One little play like that can ruin your whole week.
I
That's what
think we need to apologize to the people for putting Justin Herbert and Tom Brady as jabronis.
what we meant was,
We meant them as good fellas,
yeah,
not
we
jabronis.
mixed it up. That's why
Mixed
we
it
have to
up.
apologize.
But we did have a caveat to those bold takes, because you're not going to
Yeah,
get many bold takes that we're not afraid to like fail on that. But our game theory behind it was, especially for Tom Brady's pick, I think you were explaining as Lenny Fournette having the game, and he did have a great game. I mean, everybody scored except for Chris Godwin. I think everybody but Chris Godwin got really like major points.
yeah,
Um,
everybody had a game. I didn't expect the
yeah,
Dolphins defense to be that bad.
I mean, they were horrible.
Yeah, they were
But
horrible.
then Herbert too. I mean, no one expected that game to go to 90 points. I mean, especially with the way Cleveland's defense was playing week to
Yeah,
week.
that was crazy.
That was crazy. So, I mean, but Herbert's real. I never knocked his talent. I think he's the real deal. I just thought that the defense was going to show up. Plus, Jadeveon Clowney wasn't even playing, so both their bookend rushers weren't in. I also don't think that would have mattered anyway, because the kid is really good. But that's just explaining those two blow ups in our faces. Just yeah,
Yeah, I think they were like the two highest scoring of the week.
pretty much, except for Devonte Adams. But anyway,
Well, I'll say he's always going to get points.
I had a good week in DFS though. It was a good week in DFS. Didn't bink any tournaments, but my cash games all hit. I think I went like 80 to 90% in my
Nice,
head to
man.
heads and cash games. So it was good. It was a good week.
That's what matters.
Exactly.
Who else hit this week in the fantasy
Oh,
football stars?
are you talking about like our little Goodfellow thing, or are you talking about just in general?
No, just in general. I know Brady and Herbert, as far as
Oh,
quarterbacks. Josh Allen had another great week, but that's expected. And
yeah, that was on Sunday nights.
now he's playing the
Um,
Titans next week. Oh my
Jameis, remember
god!
I think I mentioned on the show too, was that I had a sneaky stack for GPPs against Washington's defense, and yes, that hit. So Jameis was one of the top scoring quarterbacks this
Yeah,
week too.
pretty much now. Just start your quarterbacks first, Washington. Their
Well,
defense.
yes, you know who needs that this week is Patrick Mahomes. He needs a bounce back, and they play the football team, so that's gonna be.
Ooh.
I expect an FU game from Mahomes. People throwing shade at the Chiefs, last in the division. So I think they're going to put up some points this week.
But on the other side, I think Heineke is a pretty good stream versus the Chiefs.
That
I think
too.
it's going to be a high scoring game. And the Chiefs defense is looking almost as bad as the Redskins defense. Oh, sorry, Washington football team defense.
Yeah,
So
man. Watch what you say nowadays.
I
Cancel
know.
culture.
Sheesh, I might get fired from YouTube.
Anyways, that was pretty much the quarterbacks. Herbert, TB12, Josh Allen, Jameis, and there was a couple others, of course, but those were the tops like of the week that I can remember. Matt Ryan had a good game in the London game, though. Kyle Pitts obviously showed out, but we'll get to tight ends. I think Eckler, Gaskin. Let's talk about Gaskin. Can you
Yeah,
believe that in Tampa Bay?
what do you make of that? Do you think it's a
It's a
it's just
fluke. It's an
yeah,
outlier. I wouldn't start. I wouldn't still.
Good.
But I feel bad for all the people who sat Gaskin, and I want to say
Or dropped him.
Or dropped him, I guess, yeah. But I think on our last show, there was one specific question regarding Gaskin, Singletary, and some other running back. I think it was Sermon. I think it was Rike, one of the guys in the chat.
I know there was a lot of questions about Gaskin.
But we had Brian on at the time, and then you even said, hey, Rike, or I'm guessing it's Rike. But anyway, you said, hey, so-and-so, take it from our resident Miami fan to play Gaskin. So I hope he listened at that point, because that was out. That is on film. All right. You and I were picking Sermon and I think someone else. But we weren't high on Gaskin, but hopefully he listened to the Dolphin fan on that one. Anyway, but yeah, it's an outlier. I mean,
they had to pass, and Gaskin is obviously the best passing down back they had to get it out quickly, and it worked. So what do you expect from him next game, though? You expect you expect them to realize now that they can pass him the ball, or it's just back to square one, and like just the standard starter?
You talking about for Gaskin?
Yeah.
I mean, you might want to try to get like at least double-digit points out of them. I think after seeing that performance, I think they're especially when Jacoby is their quarterback. I mean, they can rely on him to move the ball down the field. I mean, if everything's not working, especially because they were without Devontae Parker, they were without Will Fuller.
They needed Gaskin.
They needed him to produce. So, especially because I think I had some Waddle stats here too. It was pretty bad. Yeah, without Fuller, without Parker, he played 43 of 54 snaps, 23 in the slot, 20 in the out wide, 38 routes on 47 dropbacks, 6 targets for 15.3% target share. That's pretty good, but 2 for 31 with no touchdowns. It's just a huge letdown on that for Jalen Waddle. So I had Jalen Waddle in GPPs thinking on bringing back on that Tampa Bay stack. Didn't work out. Didn't even play Gaskin one bit. So sucked.
Yeah, I expected more from Waddle for sure in this game because the Buccaneers pass defense was bad. But you know what? They just dumped it off to Gaskin most of the game. He was open.
He did get one red zone target early in the game, and it was just like thrown at his feet, and he couldn't get his arms underneath it. But that was probably the only thing. So it might have been maybe 3 for 36 and a touchdown. Still wouldn't have been a great day.
Yeah. So. That's who else on running backs hit?
King Henry, of course. That dude is on pace. Guess how many carries he's on pace for? I'll let you know. I'll say this. I'll give you a clue. The record is 416 carries in a season. Guess what Derrick Henry's on pace for?
500?
Pretty close. 482. So 66 more carries. Unreal.
Yeah, he's pretty much a fantasy MVP right now.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. He didn't get many catches the last couple of weeks. But I mean, I think they know that he can still catch like 2 to 3 balls a game. They just haven't schemed it the last couple, but the guy's just producing. They play the Bills, I think, this week. Maybe a little tougher there, but I expect it's on prime time. You know, the stars come out on prime time. So
yeah, he's gonna have a good game still.
Kamara, speaking of the Saints again, they showed out against Kamara.
Back. All those people asking questions about Kamara, what should I do with him? Told you, he's gonna come back. He's gonna have his good games. You got to keep him. And it was against Washington, but whatever.
I guess one more that I would want to touch on before we go. Hunt and Zeke had a good week. Chubb had a good week. Madison, what would you say to Dalvin Cook owners right now as we near the trade deadline? Would you spare no expense? Well, I mean, I was still within reason, but would you really want to get Alexander Madison heading into the playoffs after trade deadline? Don't you think it's smart to do so?
Heck, if I'm a Cook owner, you have to have Madison. You have to. You're going to have to trade for him or do something because who knows? He's so fragile. And even Madison is not even that much of a downgrade going in there. He saw what he can do last week. So you have to.
He's an RB. He's a top 5 running back. Madison himself. You pretty much have 2 running back ones when one of them is out. So there we go there. Receivers, I think the biggest, at least my personal favorite, the biggest surprise this week was Kadarius Toney. Bonkers, 10 for 189. Awesome.
He's getting massive targets. I get that there was injuries though on the Giants side, but he even with the Galladay in there the last week, he was still getting lots of targets, Tony. So I think he's a waiver wire ad for sure.
Yo, what up, Chase? Good to see you again, buddy.
Chase, Javonte, or Moss PPR. I think Javonte Williams taking on the Raiders, Moss against the Chiefs. So they both have good matchups.
No, Moss against the Titans.
Oh, Titans.
Yeah, they just played the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But either way, they're both not really that involved in the pass game. So I don't like the PPR obviously helps when they catch, but honestly, I think Moss is just getting more snaps. So I'm leaning Moss in this one because Tennessee's also a soft defense. The Raiders, you don't know what's going to happen with them because they can be their range of outcomes of how they're going to come out of this John Gruden fiasco are so wide in both directions. Like me as a fan, like I'm thinking their offense could maybe let loose more and their defense could rally around it. I don't know, but I still think Melvin Gordon's still getting more snaps, even though it's getting really close to 50-50.
Yeah. I think with Moss, he's for sure the number one. I think he's kind of solidified the role, and Singletary's kind of creeping in. But as far as on the other side, it's the opposite. Javonte's more just creeping in still. So, and the Bills' offense is just a lot better. They're going to get to the red zone a lot more than the Broncos are. So, that being said, I'll go Moss slightly over Javonte.
Yeah, it's a slight edge.
On the team.
Yeah, it's a slight edge. I think you're probably going to want to take this all the way to Sunday until lock chase. But we're both leaning Moss over here.
Yeah. There's a more chance to score a touchdown. That's what we're looking for.
Appreciate
all right. Anybody else for running backs that kind of surprised?
No, running back. We moved on to receivers, man.
Receivers. Tony. Yeah, Tony is a must.
The only question with Tony is just what happens with when Shepard comes back, Slayton comes back, and then obviously Galladay also went down in the game. So it's going to be just remains to be seen.
So we need to make sure Daniel Jones is still in there. I mean,
that's
I don't know
another thing. Glennon, who knows?
Value is with Glennon in there. So.
Yeah. Devontae Adams obviously smashed, but Mike Williams being 30 yards wide open. No one was even near him on his second touchdown. Again, I've been saying it all season since the first week or two that he's a print fest, and he continues to be so. It's past the sell high point. I don't want to sell him anymore. I
wouldn't sell him and just keep him.
I didn't even want to sell him in week 2, but if you were going to sell him back then. You're not selling him now.
Yeah, pretty much a guy you got in the late rounds is a top 5 receiver for fantasy. It's just an amazing pick. Just hold on to him. He's a league winner.
Pretty much is. I want to say Cortland Sutton had a good game. He had a surprising one. I think I remember looking at his box score and someone who had him when I was matched up against, and he wasn't doing much. And then all of a sudden I look back again, he went 9 for 120 and a touchdown. I'm like, what the hell happened? Or just 9 for 120. I don't know if he got a touchdown, but he had over 100 yards and 9 catches.
If you think about it, the games with Teddy Bridgewater, besides the Jets game, where they didn't have to pass the ball, Sutton has been great. So he's a guy that you could probably is like a must start at this point, especially if they have a good matchup and Teddy Bridgewater's healthy. Put him in there.
Teddy Two Gloves, man. He's been a very big surprise. I think he is probably the top streaming quarterback. We've heard Daniel Jones in recent weeks. Obviously, he's hurt now, so he's off. Taylor Heineke's been a streaming quarterback. Derek Carr's been a streaming quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater might be the top streaming type quarterback.
Who would you have this week, Teddy Bridgewater or Joe Burrow as a streamer?
Joe Burrow goes against who does Cincy go against?
They go against the Lions.
And Teddy Bridgewater goes against my Raiders. Oh, man. It's like I said, it's such a wild card. I'm going to go with Joe Burrow, man. I don't doubt that Bridgewater will be efficient, but it could be just one of those 225, maybe 2 touchdowns. Nothing to write home about, but obviously it's a clean game for him. He's not turning the ball over. So I can see that out of him. But I still think the upside for Burrow is much more immense against a Detroit team.
Thank you. That helps.
Yeah.
I'm start Burrow.
Oh, man, Chase, you're a Bronco fan.
Oh my gosh. Raider fan or a Bronco fan. Let's not fight here. But yeah,
It's all good.
we don't know what the Raiders. What's going to happen? Maybe they're going to play all out next week against the Broncos, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe they're so distracted that they'll have a bad game. We don't know.
We'll see. I'm gonna be watching the Rich Bisaccia press conference tomorrow. I think they meet with the normal availability with the media on Wednesdays, so I'll be watching that for sure and see what the demeanor's like in Henderson, Nevada these days. So. I think the one other one, I still had to throw out another thing. Marquez Callaway had a big week.
That's probably his last big week.
Yeah,
Michael Thomas is coming back.
So I'm gonna get 2 more weeks. The tight ends, man, none of the big names hit this week except for Mark Andrews on Monday. Outside of that, it was Kyle Pitts. Man? It was Kyle Pitts and Njoku and Hunter Henry, probably the top 3 tight ends outside of Mark Andrews. Yeah, Hawkinson, Kelsey, Waller, all dudded. Obviously, Logan Thomas is on the shelf. Brian's personal favorite, Jonnu Smith, getting all that money. Hunter Henry, I even told him on that show when we were talking about tight ends, I said, Hunter Henry might even take that spot. He's like, no, man, no. Belichick pays the most money. That's where the target's going to go. Nah, sir. Ain't even happening.
Ooh, but, shots fired. We need to use these drops.
Yeah, where's our drops, man? I thought we were going over that.
Not about that.
But anyway.
Oh,
what do you make of Dawson Knox?
I love Dawson Knox. I think in that offense, it's just a high-powered offense, and he looks really talented. He's fast, strong, he's big. And with that kind of quarterback, like what other tight ends are better than him right now? I mean, he's probably number 4, number 5.
He's still behind like Waller and Kelsey, I think.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I think Waller's still number 2 or 3 in the rankings, but he's up there. But I think it's just because he doesn't get enough volume. He's super efficient, and that's what I like about him. Like when they go to him, it's kind of like a sure thing for him. It's like he's going to get 3 to 5 targets, and he's going to catch 3 or 4 of them. So anyway,
yeah, I mean, for
Buffalo even need Ertz at this point. You know who I was thinking for Ertz, Chase? Honestly, because I've heard his name rumbling on the trade before the trade deadline. If he were to go to Los Angeles Chargers, like that's a personal thing. That's like a personal like if that happened, Jared Cook, he's just getting too old. I mean, he could still play, but I think Ertz would just amplify that offense even more, just because he's such a massive vet and knows the ins and outs of the position. I think he would complement Justin Herbert so much more. But yeah, I've heard Ertz to Buffalo, and I just don't get it because I think Dawson Knox gives them everything they need. I think it would just be a shot in the arm to Dawson Knox.
I don't think they need Ertz. Yeah, they definitely don't need Ertz anymore. But speaking of Ertz, I think Dallas Goedert got hurt, or he's on COVID IR.
Yeah, so Ertz is going to get a boost here this week. I like him for DFS too, next to Ricky Seals-Jones. I think that was the last name for tight ends I was going to bring up. And he played 100% of the snaps. That Logan Thomas obviously is no longer there he's on IR, but him, RSJ, and Ertz are like my favorite under the radar tight ends for this week.
You'll find Ertz most likely on waivers. So he's when we get into waivers, he's gonna be one of the tight ends.
Yeah, I think that's everything I got for like a couple here and there at each position as a recap. Cool. So if you want to go right into waivers, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll start at tight end since we're there. Okay. Ertz is definitely one.
RSJ
is
Ricky Seals-Jones.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of reps, and that's what you really want. You want the volume at tight end. And
Logan Thomas was already one of the. Yeah, Logan Thomas was already the top route runners at the position. Like when he's on the field, he just runs routes. He doesn't block. He doesn't stay on block. That's one thing about tight ends is like, yeah, they might play a lot of snaps, but are they running routes on the time that they're in the field? And Logan Thomas did a lot of that, and RSJ didn't skip a beat either. He ran a lot of routes. So
yeah, that's what you're looking for. How about Dan Arnold? 6 receptions, 8 targets, 64 yards. He had a fumble, but other than that, he had a pretty good game. He was in the game. They were targeting him. It was a good matchup, so maybe that could be the reason why. But also, I don't know, the Jaguars' game plan was weird. Marvin Jones and Chenault disappeared.
We missed on those. We were touting Marvin Jones and Chenault a little bit too much. Didn't expect that to happen. I thought that's what the game plan was going to be. Of course, we're not the coaches though, but it was a little unique. But J-Ro had a great game again. So
yeah, that's what matters. But I think Dan Arnold is worth a waiver.
You can pick him up, but I don't know. In 12-team leagues, you're going to still need that.
And
I
people
used it
are
in the 12-team league, but I dropped it the next week.
People are hurting at tight end.
Yeah, a lot of people might be.
You got the Dolphins next in London.
Yeah.
I think that's. And then Joku had a crazy game, but I think that's just a 1 week type of thing.
He's another person that I think could be on the trade block for teams that like in real life trade deadline. I think he's proven enough to where he got demoted in different occasions when he was the starter when he was drafted for the first couple of years. Then they bring people in. He's always the number 2, but he's kind of on par or produces at the same clip as being the number 2. So
He's
I think
talented.
he's ready to move on. I think he's playing like it. He wants to move on.
Yeah, let's move on to receivers. We mentioned Tony already.
He's gonna be so popular. If you don't have an early waiver spot, if you're like in one of those continuous waivers, you don't have 1 or 2, you're probably not going to get him, because the only other player that I would say that would get in front of Tony as a priority would be either Devin Booker or Darrell Williams. And
but receivers though, he's the top.
Receivers, yeah, no receivers. Kadarius Toney's number 1. Yeah.
How much fab are you willing to put on Tony? Let's say if you're a team that needs a receiver,
it would have been a lot higher if Daniel Jones was healthy, but Mike Glennon, I mean, damn, I still think he's gonna be a focal point because 3 receivers might still be out, and Saquon. So I would still throw at least 20%.
20%.
I'm thinking 20%. What are you thinking?
I'm not too big on spending up on receivers, but a guy like Tony, who gets massive targets and he's a rookie, and they obviously liked what they saw because they were using him so much more. And you could just tell they were putting him at running back, so
they're going to need to do that sort of thing, especially with Saquon out, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna show that one.
Anyway, but yeah, what are you thinking though? 15 to 20%, or do you think I'm too high on the 20%?
That's a little too high. I would go 10 to 15%.
Okay,
but it depends on your team if you really need a running back or not. I mean, a receiver.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other receivers that could be out there. One that's like super under the radar. I don't think you're going to need him for 12 teams. I'm sorry, my eye is like bothering me right now. But DeAndre Carter, Washington. He's on my radar in my dynasty league. It's a deeper roster, but at the same time, De'Ami Brown went down with an injury, so he wants something to monitor there. Plus, Curtis Samuel went out with a groin, so those soft tissue injuries too. So Humphreys, McLaurin opens up a spot for DeAndre Carter potentially. So that's just one other name, but I wouldn't. I think that's more of like a free agent ad more than a claim for that one.
Another guy I wanted to bring up, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Past 2 games, 8 targets each game, 6 receptions, 7 receptions. I think Cephas had an injury, so this opens up for St. Brown. He's another guy you want to look at. If you can't get Tony, need a receiver for a few weeks.
Yeah, he's probably more up there above a DeAndre Carter, or even who's just been recommended by Bars in the Truck. Jamal Agnew has been getting more targets too, but I'd still recommend Amon-Ra over Agnew or Carter.
Yeah, Tony and Amon-Ra both over Agnew. And it's just the Jaguars are inconsistent how they're using the players. I think. Yeah. It was nice that Agnew was lining up in the slot now since Chenault moved to the wide with the Chark injury. But I think we have to wait and see a little bit with the Jaguars what they're really planning to do. Urban Meyer is just like all over the place. And I have a free spot with CEH on IR and how it's in the London game. Oh, you want to get a London game player going? The Jags playing the
Let me look at some of these leagues that I'm in and see who's on waivers. And I'm trying to see like who would be on waivers anyway.
Yeah, well, the Bars in the Truck, see if those Tony or Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think those are better pickups for you. If you really want a guy in that game.
I mean, Randall Cobb, Terrace Marshall, Jalen Reagor are still out there pretty widely. They're all under 50%. So those are other names
Yeah,
you can
but
throw out.
would you rather have the other guys above
I would
them?
actually. Rager has a good matchup against Tampa Bay. So if he's still out there, he's a potential ad. I don't know about a
Well,
pickup.
name your top three in order.
Yeah, I would say Tony, Amon-Ra, and Rager, or Rager, Amon-Ra probably as my three receivers for ads.
How about not in our league, but in some leagues, Hunter Renfrow might still be out there. I think he's the number one if he's still there.
For sure. I don't
All
think
right.
that's going to stop, even with Gruden not calling the plays.
Yeah,
Greg Olson, I'll say
his
this for the
matchup
Raiders.
is-
Anybody that owns Raiders players, Greg Olson is there's a reason why Gruden's had him out his side. They think a lot alike, but I think Olson might be a little more progressive than Gruden. So I hope that the chains kind of come off, the shackles kind of come off with a lot of the checkdowns that he's conditioned to do. So hopefully we'll see.
All right, now to the meat and potatoes. The running back, first one. I think we might agree on this one. Devin Booker, Giants
I
running
like
back.
Darrell Williams more, but I don't see to disagree to why you would say Devontae Booker.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close. I think just with Devontae Booker, with me, he's going to get the. It's not really going to be a committee, at least for now.
Yeah, he played like all
that.
the snaps when
Yeah.
Saquon went down.
Plus, it's looking like 3 weeks. So, yeah, he's if you want an instant starter, RB2 for 3 weeks, there you go, Devontae Booker. And then, well, before we get into that, how much fab are you willing to put? Let's say you're a team that lost Saquon.
Man, well, I mean, I would go a lot on that. You lost Saquon and you're in a position to still be competitive. Yeah, you got to try to get him. Excuse me. And if you are in that middle road like I'm in, I'm 3-2 and 2-3 in a number of leagues. I'm going to be aggressive. Because again, we've said it throughout the year too, these fab dollars lose value as the weeks go on. It's nice to have more than $50 in the playoffs, but at the same time,
if there's a running back like that, you got to go for him.
Yeah. I will say this, that there was rumors also Marlon Mack getting, or the Indianapolis Colts getting contacted by teams about Marlon Mack. One of them was the Kansas City Chiefs. So if that might hinder your fab acquisition or using a waiver spot on Darrell Williams, it could. But of course, that's no guarantee. So, but just keep that in the back of your mind that there could be a trades happening. Even Tyson Williams, Baltimore Ravens, have been getting contacted about Tyson to get traded as well. Who knows?
Yeah, they should be using him more. I don't understand. He looks the best out of all those running backs.
He really does. It's just I think it's his pass pro and ball security.
So Bars in the Truck says Brian Pringle is the top receiver available. Wow, he must be in like a deep league.
Must be. Byron Pringle caught another touchdown on a primetime game. There's something about those primetime games, those island games, where Byron Pringle might just get you a touchdown.
In that case, Agnew might not be that bad of an option if your league's that deep.
For sure. Yeah, if you're that deep, then Agnew or DeAndre Carter might be like the top ads for wide receiver then.
Oh, okay. We mentioned Williams. We mentioned Booker. How about Khalil Herbert? So this was kind of a weird one.
He's going to be like an Alex Collins like last week. I think he's going to be forgotten.
Yeah.
And I think you can add him after waivers process. But if you really want him, throw a few dollars out there. But I wouldn't put more than maybe like 10%.
Right. I mean, he had
7 to 10.
He had 18 attempts, but most of that was in the garbage time. Yeah. So we don't know if they really just want to use him that much, or was this just a garbage time type of thing. So really, if you like, I agree with Joey. Don't spend too much if you want him. He's kind of like if you don't get the other guys and you still need a running back.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Are you looking at Jarrett McKinnon at all in the Chiefs? You think
Not yet. I expected him to play more, but he didn't. He got on the field a little bit. I don't think it was anything outside the ordinary, even when CH was in. McKinnon played a couple snaps here and there too. But who knows? I mean, a new week of game plan, he could play more, but I wouldn't. He's not a fab guy. I think he's another free agent ad if you really want one, or if you didn't get any of the other guys, he's a guy you could take a flyer on.
For sure.
Yeah. And then I'd say Marlon Mack too. If he's somehow still out there, Marlon Mack too, because he can be traded to a team like the Chiefs, and that automatically boosts his value. So Keep an eye out for Marlon Mack if he's out there on your waivers as well.
Another guy I just want to mention before we get into quarterbacks. So Harris had that injury. He's probably not going to be out too long if he's out. Ramondre Stevenson, he's the one who stepped up after he was out. The New England Patriots running back. 11 carries, 23 yards. Didn't do much, but he would be the guy if Harris is out. So would you be willing to spend anything? Would you be willing to pick him up? What's your take?
It's tough because Patriot running backs are tough to trust. I'll say I'll treat him like Khalil Herbert. I think you can throw some fab on him given that circumstance, but I wouldn't go crazy on that either.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't go too crazy on him. I think Harris should be back soon anyways.
Sorry, my dog just will not settle down. She just keeps moving back and forth. It's annoying.
That gives me an excuse to use this. There you go.
Hear that? Hear that? It's all
like, what's that? I got a friend.
She literally looked. Anyway.
All right. So for quarterbacks, I think we're just going to list some we'd be willing to stream this week. I think most people are set in the quarterback position, unless you're like me and don't have a freaking quarterback and have to stream every week. So let's pick a couple we'll be willing to stream. We mentioned Joe Burrow earlier. He's probably one of the top streamers against Detroit. But I want to bring up Trevor Lawrence against Miami. Would you be willing to stream him over a guy like Kirk Cousins against the Panthers?
I mean, yeah, Kirk Cousins has a tough matchup. It's tough to trust him though. But I mean, he's been playing better last couple of weeks. It isn't. I guess this is a London game.
That's a London game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say he's viable.
How about that same matchup, Tua Tagovailoa, if he plays?
I don't like Tua personally, so I think you can go with it. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater probably is a better streamer for sure. I think he's the top streamer next to Joe Burrow, because I'm based on people that I see that are out there. Like in our league right now, I see Joe Burrow and I see Teddy and Trevor. I'd rank them Joe, Teddy, Trevor. I'm not trusting Geno Smith. I'm not touching that one. I'm going to wait and see on that. You sure he came in pretty good against the Rams, but full week to prepare. I'm not too high on the Geno Smith experiment.
Yeah, me either. And I agree with your top three streamers this week. Burrow,
Heineke's in there too. We mentioned Heineke as well.
Yeah, Heineke's not in our waivers, but he's another top guy. Yeah. I'll put Joe Burrow slightly above him though. Burrow, Heineke, Lawrence, Bridgewater.
Oh, wow. You put Bridgewater at 4. Okay. All good. Aaron Jones or Najee, rest of season PPR.
Oh, boy.
Look at the playoff schedule for that one to give you a full answer, in my opinion.
Yeah, because that's a tough one. I mean, they're both good.
Close. I mean, look, the touches are not even close. I mean, Najee plays every freaking snap. But the efficiency-wise and the moving the ball downfield, I trust Aaron Rodgers more than I do Big Ben. But let me look at the schedule here. We got in playoffs, they're playing Tennessee, KC, and Cleveland. 2 of those 3 are pretty good to move the ball. That's Najee. I like that. Aaron Jones. We got – they also play Cleveland, but it's Baltimore, Cleveland, Minnesota. I'm going to go with Najee.
Yeah, I'm going with Najee just because of the volume. And you see Dylan doing better and better every week.
That's another thing. Good point.
Yeah, creeping in there. And Najee's just like he's like the bell cow of bell cows in the league right now.
He finally has a Q tag next to his name though, and I wouldn't be shocked that you don't see you'll see a Q tag next to his name for the rest of the season during the week, just because he's getting so much work. The pounding's going to take a toll on the guy. Same with Derrick Henry at some point. Perhaps they might manage him at some point
We'll
throughout the
see.
week.
At least with the Titans, McNichols is getting in there, handling some passing down.
Oh, but I'm just saying, like Henry's getting 28 to 33 carries a game.
True,
That's a lot. But again, that guy is built so like not a lot of people want to tackle that guy, so they're just going to take him down as opposed to really trying to hit him. But he takes thumps here and there. But he's just built differently. Harris is obviously a stocky back, but that type of workload, it's insane.
Yeah, they're both dogs. Yeah, I just wanted to use the drop.
We got some other good ones too. I'm shocked that you haven't used them yet.
Just like it's.
We need Brian though.
I forget about him.
It's all good. We'll get better. We're trying to like make the show a little bit more pleasing to the ear, I guess.
Yeah, with those dark barks.
The dark barks. That's all we got so far. Oh man. Let's see.
I got a question here.
That pretty much is it for streamers, I would say.
Yeah.
So
trade Derrick Henry. This is Philly Mike asking you to trade Derrick Henry for Devontae Adams, D Swift, and D Knox. Full PPR. Oh man.
That's a lot of value, man. That's actually really good value. But I would say play strategy, man. What else? I mean, he's given up a first-round pick, Devontae Adams. What else does he have on that team? As I also like to say, like, what am I giving you in an event that I'm like also might play you down the line? So you got to be strategic in that. But as far as if you're just asking us like the value for it, you're definitely getting top-notch value. Like you got arguably number one receiver. You're getting a top 5 running back at this point. And I don't think it's going to stop. I thought Swift was going to have a bad week because his linemen were pretty much all out, but he still produced. Dawson Knox, I don't know if he's going to sustain that efficiency, getting 3 catches and 2 touchdowns type scenarios or 4 catches and a touchdown almost every week. I don't know if you can expect that, but I still like if I needed the depth on my team, I'd consider it for sure. Would I be man enough to do it because I'm such a big dog fan like D. Henry? I don't know if I'd be able to do it, though.
Yeah, this one's tough, but I want to know what your record is because I think that really matters. That's
true.
If you have a good record, I wouldn't do the trade. But if you're like losing, you need to do something, I'll do it just because you're getting so much value back. It's probably what's holding you down. You have Henry, but the rest of your team is lacking.
Yeah, I agree with that take as well. He said you got Devontae Booker versus – oh, no. Or is he just asking? Devontae Booker versus Rams, Darrell Williams against Green Bay. 3-2. His record's 3-2. I don't know if I would do it. But he's telling us his other roster. I'm assuming that he's got D. Henry, Booker, Darrell Williams. Or no. Who's the other D. Williams? There's 2 D.
Damian Williams.
Oh, Damian. That's right. Damian. Yeah. And Miles Sanders. Definitely not Miles Sanders, man. I
would do probably Damian versus Green Bay.
Wide receivers Deontay and Keenan Allen. I can see why he's the one who makes the trade, though, to be honest with you.
Man, he would have Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson,
and Devontae Adams, and then you would also have Swift, Darrell, and Damian with a Booker kicker. Oh man, I can see why you would do the trade, but
I mean, it seals Jones. He's getting an upgrade with Knox, and then Devontae Adams. You're really just gonna plug in wide receiver 1. Allen will be a flex. And then I'll have Swift. And he has Damian and Booker, but these guys are temporary.
Yeah. I mean, they're all temporary. So I can see why he does the trade then, to be honest with you. I almost like the trade then for him because he's going to need stability with Swift as being his main running back with Adams as well because Keenan's not getting a lot of the touches anymore. I mean, he could, but he'll be more of a wide receiver 3. Now he has 3 target monsters with Swift as an anchor, and then Knox is more of a stability over Seals Jones because he's also not going to be there after 3 to 4 weeks. So, but he also has Devontae Smith.
Yeah, he has a lot of good receivers. So
I didn't know you had Devontae Smith too, man.
I don't know. With all those receivers and Henry,
Yeah, I don't
you
think
have a
you need
good
to make the
team.
trade. I didn't know if you had Smith and Tyler Boyd too. Yeah, I don't think you need to make that trade because I don't think you're only going to end up playing 3 at the most, right?
Yeah, you have a good team. This,
I like Devontae Smith. I'm actually trying to trade for Devontae Smith in a number of leagues. Him and Stephon Diggs are my 2 top targets. I already have Stephon Diggs on a number of teams, but Stephon Diggs and Devontae Smith have unrealized air yards that just haven't cashed into touchdowns yet. So I expect positive touchdown regression to occur to them. So I like Devontae Smith a lot going into the mid to second half of the season.
yeah, Philly Mike. So if the running backs are weak, it wouldn't make sense to trade the top guy because he kind of makes up for the RB2 not being as strong. So,
Yeah, if he gets you 35 points, I mean, you break that up.
He's like 2 running backs, man.
20 and 15 between your 2 running backs. So it's like you look at it that way. Anything that you get from these fill-ins right now, because they're pretty much all fill-ins, Booker, Darrell, and Damian, they're all fill-ins. If they can get you double digits while Henry gets you 25 plus, you're still looking pretty at the running back position.
Yeah, exactly. Just hold on tight.
He proposed and added Emmons also. He's just trying to give you his whole team. Do you have okay, let me ask you this then. Would you be willing to drop 3 or 4 of the guys that you just listed? Like to
Right,
do with
you're
that
gonna
trade?
have to, right?
You're going to have to if you're going to do all that for Derrick Henry. So it's like you're going to really want to drop all those players.
Well, he could drop Seals Jones.
Yeah, but
that's it. I don't know
that you would feel comfortable dropping because I mean Darrell and Damian are going to be relevant. Devontae Booker is obviously relevant. Miles Sanders is near droppable, but I wouldn't drop him because I still think you can. I don't think you should drop a guy like that and who's number 1 on the team just to give him to someone else on the waivers. So I wouldn't drop him. And you're not going to drop Devontae or Tyler Boyd either. So it's tough. I can scoot Michael Carter. I don't like any Jets, man. To be honest with you, I wouldn't roster any Jet except for maybe Corey Davis.
I like Crowder. As far as running backs, yeah, it's tough. Michael Carter had a good game. That was like 2 weeks ago.
He had his first touchdown that game, yeah.
Yeah, he needs touchdowns. That's the thing. And the Jets don't get him any touchdowns.
No.
Well, adding Edmonds to that definitely makes it more juicier. I mean, at least he'll have a running back.
No, just that. Like the guy already posed 3-1. He's opposing a 4-1, so he's going to have to drop 3 players. And I don't see 3 players that you would really drop. You know.
Yeah.
Just saying, I will say this: he's giving you great value, and it really comes down to if you can stomach and drop 3 players on that team, then do the trade.
Yep, I agree.
There you
go. That's a good problem to have, though.
Trade Thielen and Rob 2 for Mike Evans.
Well, Rob 2, definitely trade him.
Rob 2, who's Rob 2?
I'm guessing
Allen Robinson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would if you can do that trade, do it in a heartbeat. I'd love Mike Evans. I like anybody with Brady right now. Yeah, anybody with Brady.
I would do that.
I got a few leagues. Man, I'm in 8.
I got 2. No, I got 3 actually. I don't pay attention.
I'm in 8. I play DFS. I've had best ball teams, man. I'm a nut.
Yeah, we could tell.
You can see my eyes. I got bags. Well, I mean, I wake up early. I have a baby, so and I have a baby.
Yeah, that just adds to it.
Damn, man.
I feel you. All right, let's just do the recap. Let's get into the recap.
Oh yeah, all right, let's do that and get out of here. We're gonna get out under an hour this week, man. We'll be back for Friday. So quick recap. Our Goodfellas were. Oh, skip that part? Well, because you struck out and you got to redeem yourself.
No, mine was opposite. I said jabronis on my Goodfellas and my Goodfellas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, real quick.
Just mention Brian.
Philly Mike, we're gonna we'll answer this one real quick and then we'll go to recap. Would you start Ricky Seals-Jones versus KC or Demetrius Harris for Arizona over Max Williams since he's out for the season? Help me out. Yes, I would start Ricky Seals-Jones.
Same. Yeah, you got to go with Seals-Jones versus Chiefs.
For sure.
They're going to be passing the ball most of the game, and he's one of the top targeted.
Yeah. And Darren, I think there's another Darrell Daniels, I think, is might be coming back. So you don't know, but I would still start. Even if he didn't, I'd still trust Ricky Seals-Jones. Last one. Until you get it up, we're going to go through our recap real quick. So I had Lombardi Lenny and Arthur Juan as my good fellas. Obviously, Arthur Juan did not come through. It was a running game for Derrick Henry, but Lenny did come through big time in a big way. That was a hit. Obviously, I missed on Herbert, but I also hit on Brandon Cooks as being a jabroni. So I went 2 of 4 with my picks for the week. Brian had a great week, 3 of 4. He hit on Damian Williams. He missed on Laviska Shenault, but he hit on Melvin Gordon and Miles Sanders as being jabronis as sits or fades this week. That was also a great call. So 3 of 4 for Brian. Joseph, like I said, we got a little applause.
That was a good
I was
one.
speaking too fast. I didn't let it go through. That was a good applause for Brian. He could not be here. He'll be back Friday night. Joseph missed on Marvin Jones, missed on Damian Harris, missed on Gibson. I was also with you on the Gibson jabroni pick.
Yeah.
He didn't even that stress fracture didn't even phase him. I was shocked. I expected some JD McKissick, and he only got like 3 points.
Plus the Saints, I mean, he got the touchdowns, which helped him. Those 2 touchdowns.
Correct, man. And obviously TB12. But it was the process and the mindset with around your picks was on par. Oh, I gotta plug in my computer here. My power cord about to die. All right. We'll go through our pick'ems real quick. Philly Mike, let's do this real quick. I need help from y'all. Who's Arizona starting? He'll be 2,500 on DK, and I need to find a sleeper to have at least a few targets to assume right. Well, I know Ricky Seals-Jones will be at 3K, and I'm going right back to the well on that. If he's getting all that many, those snaps and routes run, I'm gonna go right back to the well with Ricky Seals-Jones. Did we touch on another tight end that was low? Oh, Ertz, but he's not gonna be not 2,500 on DK. I think
Dan Arnold I think he's looking for the lowest possible at tight end because he wants.
And I think I haven't looked at it too much. I did a first look lineup myself, and I still have Ricky Seals-Jones as my tight end. He's only 3K, so I haven't gone through it more. But on Friday, if you come back Friday, Philly, I'll have more. I'll have my DFS stuff all laid out for myself for the week by Friday. I build my lineups on Saturday, but I'll have more of a framework on my player pool for DK and DFS.
Yeah, well,
great question, man. I like that question, man.
Yeah, we'll have our starts of the week on Friday as well.
Hell yeah, 3K is definitely cheap, man. That's why I'm going back to the well with that. RSJ is going to help me get to certain players and certain stacks with that 3K price point. All right, so our pick'em game, Brian murdered. He had a great week. Brian was on point with everything. If you watch back on Friday's episode, everything that Brian was coming out of his mouth was just pretty much fire. So with his 3 out of 4 picks, he went, 14-2 in pick'em. We could have 14-2 with pick'em. Insane. So he caught up and passed me up. He is now first place. He has 51 on the season. I'm in second with 47, and Joseph is bringing up in the rear with 44 correct. On the week, like I said, Brian went 14-2. I only went 9-7, and Joseph split down the middle 8-8 on pick'em. So there we go. That's our season total there. And I think anything up to you, Brian. Joseph. Oh my God, I called you Brian. That's not good.
Wow, what an insult! I am insulted. My gosh. Let's answer this question here. Chase, how about Devontae or Sanders? PPR. I'm going Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith. I am going, and I'm thinking that's Manny Sanders, of course. I am going to go Devontae Smith as well. I believe in it.
Although, could Sanders have a Gaskin week against the Bucks where they just keep dumping it off? Actually, I think maybe Gainwell will have that role. You think
I thought it was Manny Sanders.
Oh.
Was he speaking Devontae? I think it's Devontae Smith and Manny Sanders, but that's what I'm thinking. But it could be. I don't know. If you want to say Manny or Miles, Chase.
I'll still go Devontae Smith.
I'm still going to go Devontae Smith regardless, but yeah. But, I can see why you thought Miles because they're both on the same team as well. So
yeah, it's automatic. There's a lot of Sanders.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But did we touch on everything?
Emmanuel, Manny Sanders. Yeah, I'm still going Devontae. I think regression to the mean too. Like I said, Diggs is one of my targets for air yards unrealized, man. There's so many air yards that he's still getting that hasn't converted to touchdowns. Manny's been getting a lot of touchdowns. So there should be a pullback in just the numbers coming back to him. He should still get a lot of targets, but maybe not all the scores. So that's where I'm at.
Sure.
That's all I got, man. Unless you want to talk about anything else, I am going to do better this week. I did put out our stuff on Twitter. I didn't follow up as much. I wanted to reiterate how we did on Twitter. But hey, we need you guys out there too. It's fantasy at
I'll put it in the
fantasy F
comments.
Mafia on Twitter. Our Twitter. What
is it again? I'm typing it.
At fantasy F Twitter at fantasy F Mafia.
Fantasy F Mafia. That's our Twitter. Make sure you follow us on there because we have daily updates. Joey's on there putting updates. And then we put our starts of the week on there, our Thursday. Oh, we need to do our Thursday pick'em.
Thursday pick'em. Oh, crap. Who is it? Tampa Bay and who?
And the Eagles.
And the Eagles? I'm going Tampa Bay.
I'm going Tampa. That was easy. Brian says he went Tampa. Who do you have as a captain for DFS?
Ooh, see, that's where it gets interesting. So, I am going to go with Chris Godwin as one of my favorite captains this week. Again, it's just kind of like a carousel thing with me. It's also a feel. He hasn't been getting many touches in the red zone as he has in the past. So I think he's kind of due. But I would say rotate different lineups with the pass catchers of Brady. But if you want to be contrarian, Devontae Smith or Jalen Hurts at captain wouldn't be too bad either and still fill it out from there.
Yeah, I agree with that. But if you want to go real cheap at the captain and then fill up and the rest, I think Gainwell might be a sneaky pick this week.
Really good to fit everything else in because you're going to get two receivers from Tampa Bay and then Jalen Hurts and Devontae. You can probably get that lineup. I haven't done it yet, but that's actually a really good pick.
Right. I'm definitely going to hope Gainwell gets a touchdown and some receptions because you saw what the Dolphins did. They put the running backs out and they caught balls instead of trying to run it. And I think Gainwell is perfect for that. So he might
don't dupe us.
Yeah.
Don't do
we got this right last week with Woods. If you guys want to rewind the tape, we got the captain right. So, Gainwell is more of a, sneaky stretch play, or if you want to take a little risk, but it's possible. So,
and I played Josh Allen at captain on Sunday night, so I hit that one a little bit. I cashed. Nice. I didn't obviously think anything big, but I cashed on that just because simply, if you get the captain right, you should be able to at least get your money back. I'll say that. But of course, we're all trying to win the big one. So min cash doesn't really make me feel good at night, but at the same time, I could live to fight another day.
It's all fun and games.
It's all fun.
All right. Anything else before we shut this down? Any more questions? This is your last chance. We have 1 more minute, 2 more minutes.
There you go. Again, we'll be back on Friday nights. Bring your questions. I would also say throw out there too. When we're doing pick'ems, I'll try to pause a little bit more. And if you guys want to also throw your pick'ems in there, I'll try to note some of the consensus from the chat as well to see how the chat does, our community does versus our picks. I love to do that. Hopefully, obviously, we're now in week 6. Potentially, obviously, as we continue to grow, maybe we can create our own pick'em league on ESPN. They do the pick'ems there. I would love to do that as for our community. And the last thing is that we finally, Yosef and I, obviously hit our first ticket on Underdog. We did over-unders, pick'ems on Underdog. We hit a ticket of, it was Michael Pittman, Mark Andrews, and Carson Wentz overs on their projections. We hit that ticket. But we'll be doing Underdog as well, hopefully on Friday. We'll have to obviously share our screen and maybe do a ticket with you guys. We'll do a consensus ticket with the community. So with that.
New things coming up. And hopefully you guys were listening last week on Waivers because we told you guys to pick up guys like Darrell Williams and Alex Collins, who ended up starting and are going to be starters for the next few weeks. So really pay attention and look for our updates on Twitter. I posted it in the comments if you guys want daily updates. And we'll see you on Friday night, 8 p.m.
All right. Take it easy, guys. Good luck this week.